Hey guys, welcome in. Sorry that took so long. I had a lot of calls. All of a sudden, when your phone lines start working and you have 2 weeks of pent up callers, all of a sudden you do get a lot of calls. And so those people took the time to call me during the show. I didn't want to, I don't know, not take their call because they didn't call within a certain amount of time or something. Especially when it was my fault that the phones were down in the first place, which that was embarrassing. I'll have to figure out what the heck is going on with that. That the phone number I'm dropping on a national radio show is actually not working. That's very frustrating, to say the least. But glad you're here. Glad you're joining us. Golly, today on the AfterSchrock. First off, if you have any questions, feel free to hit them up. You can just type them into the side over here, and I'll try to answer them as I go through the AfterSchrock here. For real though, this time I'm gonna have to keep this one short because I'm losing my voice. I think. I've got this cold thing that's going around, and I slept for garbage last night. And I don't know if my voice sounded extra husky today. Oh yeah, and toward the end of the show, I was like, it doesn't feel so bad if I don't project so hard. Yeah, I can just move the microphone closer. And then all week long, I was looking for that's called a mic flag because I'm talking into this microphone here, right? And I feel like I need a microphone flag. It's like something on it that looks like this on this microphone. I need one of these bad boys, right? Except I was like, I can't find one for these SB7 mics because they're so beefy and fat. And in my brain, I didn't see this because I can't. I was looking. I was actually watching the show that I did, and I was looking at it, and I'm saying, yeah, this thing is beefy. Like that thing's not going to fit on there. It never occurred to me to put it right here. So that's brilliant. I bet I could just unscrew this thing. Oh yeah, the engineers are going to love me. I'm just going to mess with all their microphones. I'm going to unscrew that thing and put the Schrocky one on there. And maybe I leave it. I don't know. 'Cause I don't really do live on KFAB, so I mean they have their own one there on that one for if they do live. Maybe I could just leave my compute this one on the microphone and see if anybody says, Thor, this isn't like just your studio. You know that, right? So anyway, let's see. What do we got going on? Funny thing happened this week. Now, I talked a little bit about the China trade war thing during the show. I tried to keep it apolitical so that nobody who likes Trump got mad at me and nobody who dislikes Trump got mad at me. Of course, you're trying to walk the center line. Sometimes you just get shot from both sides. But a funny thing happened this week. We have been doing our best to try to find places to source stuff from that's not China. The tariff was the first part of it. We're like, gee whiz, they're gonna, hit us with a 25% cost increase. If we're looking at a 25% cost increase, is there an American factory or a Canadian factory or a Mexican factory or something that can do it for a lower price? And of course, there are plenty of factories that can do injection molding for a reasonable price. The problem is that none of them own the design for the technology. And so we can design our own enclosure and we can send it off and they'll injection mold it for us, but then we still need the microchips and everything. We have to license those from somebody. And the problem is that the reason supply chains don't move quickly is these Chinese factories have all these pieces in place. Literally, I call them up, I send them my artwork, I send them my desired specifications, they make it, and I have it in 2 weeks. Anywhere else, this is going to be a multi-year process with patents and trademarks and everything else involved. It's going to be a mess. See, I'm telling you. Anyway, so I'm talking to the Chinese factory because I'm like, well, maybe they'll give me a discount because the Chinese have been devaluing their currency to get an edge in the trade war a little bit. So I email them back. I'm like, hey, any discount in price because the currency changes or whatever. And they did end up giving me a $150 discount in price due to currency changes, which in an American's view, you're talking about a $4,000 or $5,000 order. $150 isn't that big of a deal. But when you look at it from the perspective of a Chinese worker, they make about $300 a month. So $150 is like 2 weeks' pay. I mean, that's pretty significant discount, right? So anyway, they're offering us a little bit of a discount to move forward. But then this is the part that's funny. I'm pushing back a little because I think I can get a better discount. And I'm like, I don't know, guys, a 25% tariff. I think maybe we might just buy these domestically and put stickers on them with our name or something until we can have some made that are just ours. Actually, we'll just co-brand somebody else's for a while. And they're like, well, tell you what, all you have to do is you order from us, and you'll pay the normal amount, but we will write the invoice for any amount you want so that you don't have to pay the tariff if you don't want to. So in other words, they'll forge the import paperwork so that my $4,000 in imports is suddenly like $400 in imports, and then I'll pay a 25% tariff on that, which is $100 instead of $1,000. So yeah, it was just one of those things. Like there's always a way around it. There's always a way to get around the tariffs if you're inventive enough on the Chinese side. So anyway, let's see. I was just about to give up on there being an aftershock. Well, Mark, I was doing my best. I had callers, and they called the show, and they were on hold at the end of the program, and I told them to stay on the line, and they stayed on the line. And the first caller was a guy from Scotts Bluff, and he had a lot of questions about things, and there was confusion. I was telling him to he was trying to open his settings, and there's a shortcut to do that where you hold down the Windows button on your keyboard and press the letter I. Except I didn't tell him hold down the Windows on the keyboard. I said hold down the Windows key and press I. So he took his mouse and clicked on the Windows logo on the screen and held it down while he pressed I, and it kept opening Internet Explorer. And he was like, what are you doing to me? Why is it opening Internet Explorer? I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I'm doing it on my keyboard. It's working fine. I'm like, I'm clicking it, and then I'm holding down. I'm like, wait a minute, you said click. So yeah, sorry, that took a little time with that gentleman, but we got through it. Oh, Carolyn, it'll be fine. Usually my voice is trashed at the end of the show anyway. I don't know how these pro guys do 3 hours, or if they're gargling like lemon water during the breaks or what they're doing, but I'm not doing. I'm drinking coffee from a straw, so it's like straight caffeine injection into my system. Maybe that's got something to do with it. I don't know. Alrighty, after 5 years of trying, my friend is wanting to use Schrock for her computer needs. Would she be able to get a maintenance check for free as a new customer? Yes, actually. New customers get their first hour of labor for free. So the first hour of labor is a $110 value. A maintenance checkup costs $90. So if she wants to burn her free hour of labor on a maintenance checkup, she can do that. What usually ends up happening in this scenario, especially if she's a new customer, she doesn't have anything yet, right? So she's not going to have endpoint. She's not going to have secure updater. We're going to test her hard drive. We're going to test her memory. There's probably a reason she wants to come in. The computer's doing something weird now. She's going to get it checked out. So if we find something wrong that requires an hour of labor to repair, what we usually suggest the customer does is pay for the maintenance checkup and then use the free hour of labor coupon for an hour of labor, because an hour of labor is $110 and a maintenance checkup is $90. So you can actually save $20 more by doing it that way. But we'll walk her through all that. So yeah, if we check out her computer and do the maintenance on it and everything is fine, and she decides I don't want endpoint, I don't want secure updater, I don't want any of that stuff, I just want a maintenance checkup, we'll totally do it for free. So absolutely. I guess I never thought about advertising it that way. Free maintenance checkup if you've never been in before. And for those of you who have been in before, no soup for you. No, we actually had a caller one time call in who was upset because new customers get their first hour of labor free, and what do existing customers get? That's ridiculous, that other customers don't get free hours of labor too. Or how long do you have to wait until you're a new customer again? Like you're a born-again Schrock customer. How long do you have to wait? And I was like, listen, once you're a Schrock customer, that opens up a lot of doors to you. You get all these special announcements about the sales. So like if you have a Windows 7 computer, it just saved you $220 because you're a Schrock customer. If you're not a Schrock customer, you probably never even heard about it. If you were going to get a maintenance checkup, you just saved half off your maintenance checkups because you're a Schrock customer. There's all kinds of different ways you can save money once we know you, once we can build that relationship with you. But the challenge is, honestly, in our industry, there's IT guys who know their stuff, and there's small business owners that are shifty sometimes. Sometimes they're the same person, right? And the objective in these smaller business environments is survival, because computers are becoming less and less and less repairable, which means fewer and fewer people bring them in for repair, which means people are buying more new computers, and it's impossible for a lot of smaller shops to compete selling new computers because, heck, there's no markup there. You don't actually make any money selling the computer. You have to have a suite of services to offer with the computer. You have to be a value-added reseller. It's called a VAR, value-added reseller, where you're adding some value to something a customer can get somewhere else for the same or lower price, but you're adding a value to it that increases it. The lovely Kimberly would call this plussing. You're giving a plus or a Benny or some kind of an extra thing that makes people feel good and warm and fuzzy that they're willing to do business with you rather than going with an HP or a Dell. Even though they know it's only going to last them 18 months, they at least know for 18 months it's going to work, and the Dell will be there in 18 months if something goes wrong. They won't be out of business. These smaller companies, a lot of them have disappeared. Even some of the bigger ones, like DIT, used to be huge in Omaha. They actually had a location in Urbandale, Iowa, too. They sold it to another company who took over the Urbandale location and pretty much poo-pooed the Omaha locations. We called those guys and said, hey, listen, you have no intent in operating in Omaha. We don't have any operations in Iowa at the moment. This is before the Des Moines idea. So we were being honest. Now we're coming for them, though. It's going to be good. And so why don't we strike some kind of a deal where we take over support for all the DIT customers that were in the Omaha and Lincoln areas, and then we'll give you guys a kickback on it, or we'll pay you a certain amount of money or whatever. And they were really excited about it at first, and they kind of fizzled out, and nothing ever happened. So finally, we just said, well, that's fine, and we issued a press release that we're giving free warranties to everybody who has DIT paperwork. Bring in your receipt from DIT, and we'll honor your warranty here at Schrock. And we had a lot of people from DIT actually come into the service center and have us honor their warranties. And we got a lot of new customers out of that. In fact, one of our best corporate customers is a gentleman that owns all the Cubby's convenience stores, and he buys all of his computers from us. We do solid state upgrades for him. I mean, literally. DIT was selling him computers before, but even DIT started to do this, where it was, we have to survive, we have to earn more money. So they were selling him a Windows, those of you who know tech know, they were selling him a Windows 32-bit operating system. So he has to have Windows 7 because of his convenience store software, which is going to be a crazy thing for him when this whole Windows 7 thing hits. But he had to have Windows 7, and it had to be 32-bit. And so he had all these Windows 7 32-bit computers installed, and they were putting 8 gigs of RAM in them. Windows 7 32-bit, Windows 10 30, any 32-bit operating system can't address more than 4 gigs of RAM. You can put 8 in it, but it sees 4. It just won't ever see the other 8 or the other 4. Or you can put 16 in it, it'll see 4. That's just the limitation. That's why everybody moved to 64-bit operating systems, because of all the upgrade possibilities and the additional ability to do stuff. Well, heck, all of these computers that, these smaller shops are selling people things either they don't need, or they're trying to profiteer on the initial meeting with the customer. And then if you need anything else, feel free to call us. We'd love to hear from you when you want to spend money. Otherwise, leave me alone, because I don't have any resources to help people that are not in an immediate transactional situation. That's what makes Schrock different. When we had a business analyst do a valuation of Schrock a while back, and when they came in and looked over everything, they said you're spending way too much on labor, and these warranties are stupid. Whatever you're doing with the warranties, that's dumb. And they basically had some critiques of us that we could be a much more profitable company if we only did the following. The challenge, though, is our entire company is based on building relationships with people. That's why I do 2 hours of radio every week, guys. I'm trying to introduce myself to you. I'm trying to build a relationship where you know who I am and I know who you are. And when you call into the service center and say, hey, Thor, this is Carolyn from Round Rock. I'm like, I know exactly who Carolyn from Round Rock is. Hey, this is Mark. I'm one of your top fans. I know who Mark is. Gloria. I know you, Gloria. So when you guys call in, I know who you are. You know who I am. If I call you, if I see one of you in the service center, I pick up the phone and call. And it's crazy because people get so excited when I call. I'm just another guy, but everyone's like, you're the guy from the radio. I'm like, I'm not even that attractive. I mean, so anyway, a lot of the smaller shops are focused on selling up front, where Schrock takes a long-term view. We want to build a relationship with you as a customer. I have no problem doing a free maintenance checkup for somebody to show them the goodness that a maintenance checkup can do for their computer, if it will earn me their business going forward in the future. Because if they trust me with that part of their computer, maybe I can earn the trust that's required to handle their security for them. Or maybe I can earn the trust that's required to, maybe when they want their next computer, they might at least consider us, come take a look at what we have to offer. All right, so we talked about the special for September being the Windows 7 to Windows 10 upgrade. We sent out emails to people that we have records that they have had or do have a Windows 7 computer. We didn't email everybody about this because we knew there was going to be confusion when we send out emails to people running Windows 8.1, for example, that you need to upgrade to Windows 10 before January. Um, oh my gosh, and then people will freak out. We have some customers still running XP. Most of them are very elderly. They just don't want to. They can't change over. They're not on the internet anyway. It doesn't matter. But then, they get they hear this on the radio and they freak out about it and they think that I have to pay money and do an upgrade or something like that. So we only emailed people that have Windows 7 computers about it. So if you don't have a Windows 7 computer, you didn't hear about this via email. We have the post on our website right now, right here on Facebook as well, facebook.com/SchrockInnovations. If you could share that post on your feeds, basically, it'll help us get the word out that there's some big things happening with Windows. Also, we always love to get new customers. The first hour of labor free coupon doesn't really work on this special because, one, you can't combine two discounts. You can't do the sale and a coupon. But two, it's a free hour of labor. And we're giving you the labor for free anyway. So maybe we would honor it. And then we have customers who get upset because I don't want to come in on the special because then I won't be a new customer next time and I won't get the free hour of labor. People think about this stuff. We got some crazy coupon ladies out there. They'll think of these things. All right, let's see what we got going on here. Oh, the Nest issue. I did not get to the Nest issue. Thank you for reminding me, Cindy. I appreciate that. Let's see. Google is a bald-faced Internet of Things liar, and its Nest pants are on fire. All right, this story is kind of fluffy, so I'm going to try to cut through the fluff here a little bit. All right, so this gentleman is talking about things that he purchased that are not Nest brand that were designed to work with Nest. So before Google bought Nest, it was works with Nest. If it said works with Nest, it was good. And that was actually like the interface language. It was works with Nest. Excuse me. So now Google has changed that over, and now they call it. We did a story on this a while back. Now it's just called Google Nest. And this gentleman was talking about how he had a fan that was works with Nest compatible, and then they rolled it all into the Google Nest thing. And that they were going to sunset the Works with Nest back in May, and a massive uproar by consumers ensued. So lots of people have bought the Works with Nest associated devices. So it's not necessarily just like the Nest thermostat, but you get the Nest thermostat and you're automating your home and you get a light switch. But it's not made by Nest, but it works with Nest, so that's okay. You get a big fan, not made, this guy, the fan was actually made by a company called Big Ass Fans, which is kind of funny. They make some giant fans. If you've ever seen like a barn or something, a giant fan in the ceiling, look in the center, it probably says Big Ass Fans on it. But they works with Nest. You can use them with your Nest thermostat, which makes sense. They're a ventilation fan. Well, that's works with Nest, not necessarily Google Nest. All right. So everybody freaked out when Google was going to eliminate the Works with Nest stuff and go with just the Google Nest, because all their devices would suddenly not be smart anymore. They would be dumb, and people spent a lot of money on these devices. And Google bought Nest, and this is a big, bad black eye for Google. So Google decided to help everybody out, and Google migrated people's Nest account to the Google Assistant that brings everything together under Nest. Now, there is a little uncertainty as to when products that were designed to integrate that works with Nest will permanently lose that functionality. Right now, it's kind of a dual thing. Right now, they're still working. Google said, okay, we'll pause that. Just don't worry about that. But then we want you to move everything to the Google Assistant, and here's that here. Come on. How long is the smart stuff going to last? Smart stuff burns out. I lost a camera last week. So as you replace hardware over time and you're not allowing the Works with Nest anymore, some of this stuff is just going to go away as people just buy the Nest hardware instead of the third-party hardware, which is what Google wants you to do. All right, there's a few products out there that were designed for Works with Nest, which include the Philips Hue smart lights, Chamberlain smart garage doors, and Wemo smart plugs, all of them that this guy has in his house. They work great with Alexa, and now you're going to lose all the interoperability. Google said that would not happen, which is why their Internet of Things pants are on fire. It's a funny little headline. All right. but that Google can suddenly decide to sunset a cloud API that hundreds of Internet of Things devices have been talking to for less than 5 years is a bit disturbing. It means that the idea of mixing and matching products for home automation, the very premise of what Internet of Things and the smart home was supposed to be, is a farce. It's a bald-faced lie, and Google's pants are on fire. Okay, so this is an epic rant by this guy. And he's basically complaining that when you go with Ring, of course Ring wants you to buy all Ring things. And when you go with Google, they want you to buy all Google things. And so as a result, if you buy third-party stuff, so in my home, for example, I have a Wise camera made by Wise. It's integrated with Amazon Alexa. I have smart plugs. I forget the company that makes them. It's some cheap old company that makes a $4 smart plug. You put it in, you pair it, and you plug your thing into it, and you can turn it on and off, and you can set it on a schedule. That's how we run all the open signs in our service centers. They turn on at 10, they turn off at 8. And then on the 4th of July, I wake up at 11 o'clock and I'm like, oh no, I got to turn off the open signs. And I get on the app and I turn off all the open signs because, it doesn't know about holidays. That's how Internet of Things works. So with those things, like imagine now if I couldn't do that anymore. I can't integrate everything through a central hub. I have to have a separate app for my plugs. I have to have a separate app for my cameras. I have to have a separate app for my thermostat, and all of a sudden my automated smart home is not so automated because maybe I want to build something that says when I come in the front door, when the motion sensor detects motion at the front door, I want to turn the lights on, set the temperature on the thermostat to a certain point, and close the garage door. And I can write that right now with a smart home automation algorithm. If all my stuff doesn't talk to each other, I can't do that unless I buy all the devices from one company. This guy's complaining that he has automated his home with all these devices from other companies, and Google is ending the Nest central piece that links it all together. Get an Ecobee thermostat. Problem solved. Nest really started their big thing with thermostats. They got some cameras too, but you can replace the cameras pretty easily. So the thing is, if you don't like what Google's doing, just ditch Google. They'll get the memo. But until people start doing that, they're not going to change anything. And Google wants you to buy the hardware from Nest. They don't want you to integrate every other third-party stuff. And yes, that is a terrible, mean way of doing things. Or you could also say it's the Apple way of doing things. Apple has proven that if you keep control of the hardware, you control the hardware ecosystem, you can build a better environment for people to work in. That's why people who use all Apple devices, who use iMacs, iPads, and iPhones all together, that's why they have such a seamless experience, because Apple controls all the hardware, Apple controls all the software. It's all controlled by Apple, so Apple can make everything work together nice and tight and easy. There's no having to collaborate with third-party companies. In fact, most of the time, the only thing ever goes wrong with an Apple device is when you include some third-party stuff in there that it wasn't tested to work with. So as a result, the Google Nest stuff is not going to eventually work with a lot of third-party stuff. So if you're doing a home automation, do your homework first on this. Amazon Alexa is a great control source. It does really well for controlling all the smart home devices. But I can't control. I want the new Ryobi garage door opener. That's what I want for my birthday. It's a Ryobi. I'm hooked on these Ryobi power tools you get at Home Depot. There's an 18-volt battery, and you can run like anything off of it. I was walking out of Home Depot yesterday, and I saw a Ryobi electric-powered lawnmower, a riding lawnmower that was electric. And I'm like, okay, this is getting out of hand, Does it run off the little 18-volt batteries? It doesn't. But you can get all these batteries and plug them in. I have all these tools because they come in 2-packs. So I get the tool I need. There's an extra tool in there. And now I got my wife a dust buster. I haven't had a dust buster in years. My mom had a dust buster. It never worked right. The Ryobi dust buster is amazing. We have littles. They eat. And when they're done eating, they go, plah, and they smash their crackers and throw them all over the floor. You vacuum off the kid, vacuum off the tray. Heck, it's brand new. That thing works amazingly well. So these Ryobi tools are great. I want the Ryobi garage door opener because it's smart home enabled, so you can open and close the garage door, but you can plug it's got a built-in battery charger for your 18-volt batteries, and then if the power goes out, the batteries will power the garage door opener. You only get 1 or 2 opens on it, but you shouldn't really be coming and going too much. But if you don't have a handle on the outside of your garage door, which a lot of them don't anymore, having one of those things is pretty cool, right? Doesn't work with Alexa, so that's why we haven't bought it yet. So, I mean, this is not a problem that's unique to Google or Nest, but that was the Nest story. So there we go. Thank you for reminding me to cover that one, Cindy. $110 is reasonable. I worked at a competitor in 2002. They charged 90 back then, so a $20. Yeah, you know, Cy, we've been talking about this a couple times. I've been mumbling about this. We used to be the expensive place in town to go. When you look at the menu and you have the dollar signs, we used to be the $4 sign place to go out of five. Now we're a $2 sign place to go because the prices that everyone else has charged have gone up so dramatically, and we've had enough business that we haven't had to really raise our prices. And as a result, we're now an average price place. Best Buy Geek Squad charges more per hour than we do. Best Buy Geek Squad charges $150 for a maintenance checkup. That doesn't even do as much as we do. It's $150 for what we charge $90 for. Our labor is $110. The last time we raised our labor price was 2008, where it went from $99 to $110. There's been some talk that we might have to raise it to $115 or something, but there comes a point where you're just like, come on, because you raise the hourly labor to $115. Well, then you have to raise the on-site labor by $5. Then I have to raise the programmer's labor by $5. And then the maintenance checkup, does it go up $5 too? So it reverberates through everything. So, you know, honestly, at this point, our customers are okay with our prices. Our business levels are doing good. We're making a fair amount of money for the work that we're providing. There are some really cool new systems that we want to implement that are super expensive to implement, that are going to increase our service level even higher and solve some communication issues that we've had recently where there's just human mistakes happening. There's just so many customers coming in, and you know we have a lot more staff, and the Geek Squad has one guy in Omaha that does all the on-sites. One guy. And you know we have 15. So there's a lot of humans making a lot of human mistakes, and there's a lot of communication that has to happen both internally between staff members and externally with customers. And we're building a new system that's going to manage that flow and enforce a regimented approach. Like you can't clock out until you leave notes on your work orders today, or you can't you can't clock in because you're not supposed to be here because you're not scheduled today. Things like that. But anyway, so yeah, we try to keep their labor prices reasonable, but we're not as expensive compared to as we used to be. I think part of it is Best Buy has to charge the same price here as they do in New York. I don't know why they do that. I mean, grocery stores don't charge the same price for different parts of town. I don't know why you'd keep the price the same across many states. And we're going to keep the price the same in Iowa, but I mean they're right next door to us. Oh, we can't wait either. You know, we're just getting over this phone stuff today on the radio is the hangover that happens when you get, oh my gosh, phone systems. Anyway, so yes, the Des Moines Service Center is going to be pretty spectacularly awesome when we get it up and running. We're very excited to get that moving too. We got the ratings in on the Des Moines radio show on WHO. Something like a 5,600% increase in listenership in the time slot was pretty spectacular. So there's every sign is pointing to good in that market there. So we got some good stuff going. All right. Morning, Carolyn. Morning, Alan. Google still doesn't have a variety of home automation hardware to pull this stuff. Yeah, Google doesn't even have the products to do it because we looked into it. The lovely Kimberly and I, mostly the lovely Kimberly, sat down and lined up all the home automation stuff that you can get and tried to, you know, let's see which one is the best one for us. And we looked at all of them, and we found that like Ring has the best doorbell, and yeah, Alexa has the best centralized control, and Wise has the cheapest cameras, but they're for indoor use only, and the sound quality is poor. And I'm not too hot on having tons of indoor cameras, but it is nice to have a camera downstairs in the basement where the kiddos play their video games, so you can look in on them without, like, you know, being the uncool dad that comes downstairs looking for his wrench, you know. There are outdoor cameras. I think the Ring outdoor cameras are what you're looking at, lovely Kimberly. We've had a rash of break-ins in our neighborhood, and so we're looking at some additional cameras there. Ring makes a floodlight now too. So there's all kinds of different things you can go with for home automation and home security now. You don't have to pay. The thing I like about the Wise cameras is it's free. There's no sign up, no fee. They're a $40 camera. If it burns up, if it gets wet, it's a $40 camera. I mean, I'm going to take care of it, but I'm not gonna cry my Cheerios if I burn up a $40 camera. On the other hand, It's an amazing. The camera quality is amazing. I can pan, I can zoom. I've got microphone. I've got talkback. I can talk outside the camera speaker. I can listen to what's going on outside of there. I can get push notifications on my phone. I can record video to the SD card if I put an SD card in the thing. So there's no cloud storage, no cloud fees. I can automatically record events like motion detectors. I had a Bitcoin mine, and I wanted to know if anybody went into that Bitcoin mine besides me. So I set a motion alert up on the camera, and when it went off, I knew somebody was in my mine, and I could pull up the camera feed and see what they were doing in there. It's pretty cool stuff. So home automation can be pretty neat when you put it all together. All right, last call for questions, guys. I'm literally dying here. This is supposed to be another quick one, and I can't seem to keep them quicker than 45 minutes. Trying to think if there's anything this week that went on that I didn't talk about. I welcomed Kara aboard this week. Kara is our new Schrock Interactive employee. She is taking over search engine optimization as well as doing some social media and some content writing for us for the websites. So you'll expect some more do-it-yourself content. We're going to be doing some whiteboard explainer videos. Those are the videos where it's like a whiteboard where the guy's drawing and it explains how things work. We're going to do things like, when should you plug your laptop in to charge the battery? When should you not? Or should you put your computer to sleep or not? Or why do hard drives go bad? Like, what causes that? We're going to do some explainer videos that are just general knowledge, kind of helpful videos that are going to be fun to put up on Facebook. We're going to post them and boost the heck out of them. And of course, the objective here is if you're watching the video and it goes super viral, you're going to learn about Schrock Innovations and all the cool help that we provide. That's the hope anyway. We don't know if they'll actually go super viral or not. Probably not. But hey, at least they'll be helpful for the people who see them, right? All right, guys, I got to roll out. Thank you for joining us today on the program. I appreciate it. We'll be back here in studio again next Sunday for another edition of Compute This. In the meantime, stay tuned to the Facebook page here, facebook.com/Schrock Innovations. If you haven't already done so, please click like and follow. That way you'll get alerted whenever we do something here on the page. Also, if you could share our page with your friends and family members or individual posts that you find are worthy of being shared. I'm not asking you to be that guy that shares everything, because nobody likes that guy. No, nobody likes that guy. No, that if that's you, nobody likes you. Don't do that. I've learned this because I used to do that, and my wife was like, Thor. The lovely Kimberly says, Thor. Nobody likes that. Don't do that. And don't tag a bunch of people. Do you know what she told me the other day? That's how old people use Facebook. I was like, for real? When did I become the old person on Facebook? I guess whatever. She goes, you're tagging too many people. You need to tag fewer people. Okay, I'll tag fewer people. But I appreciate it because she's taught me a lot of great life lessons. There are some things on Facebook you do never talk about. And you always stay positive. Nobody likes to hear you complain on Facebook either. So, at any rate, those are your Facebook rules of the road for the day, guys. So if we do post something that you find worthy of sharing, please do share it. We appreciate that. It helps us spread the word. It helps us get the word out about Schrock. It also helps us help more people. And that's what we like to do. All right, we'll see you guys again next weekend. Have a great week. See you then.